Greetings, Patrick here. I have Cheetah will view, and welcome to the second week of Schlock and Sharks. That's right, Schlock and Sharks. This is the collaboration I'm doing with my buddy Eric. Hey, Internet, it's Eric. Whereas we each gave each other 5 movies to talk about. I gave him 5 great shark movies, and he gave me 5 schlock movies. I don't know how that happened or how that got negotiated, but it is what it is. Um, uh, he stuck me with Creepshow 3, which you guys are already suffered through. And those who made it through Creepshow 3 and made it here, congratulations. Today we're talking about River of Darkness. River of Darkness is a 2011 mystery film. It actually has a pretty decent cast. It has Kurt Angle as Sheriff Will Logan, has Sid Vicious as Jonas Jacobs, Kevin Nash as Jaden Jacobs, and even another wrestler in here, Ray Lloyd, who who is Glacier on WCW. First of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like this one a hell of a lot better than I like Creepshow. But then again, that pretty much would like anything better than Creepshow 3. Um, so the story, basically, people start in a small town. They start getting killed, and they start getting killed in horrific ways. You hear a chain rattling, and victims are looking around, and next thing you know, they're being killed in a most vicious way, and that includes a young lady who's leaving her job as a waitress, and she meets a very unpleasant fate. So, of course, Sheriff Will is on the job, and he starts poking around, like, who would want to kill this young girl, and who would want to kill it so viciously. And before you know it, other people start dropping horrifically. And Will just bounces from town person to town person, asking, I'm new here. Basically, I'm new here. What's going on? Does somebody have a grudge against somebody? Is it, what's going, you think it's someone passing through? Does someone get mad at somebody else and taking it out on somebody? And then he starts hearing weird noises, as far as the town people saying, like, it could be ghosts. And of course, Sheriff Will, being a man of practical means, he's not really buying into that, but he does poke around. He does poke around. He wants to know. He wants to get to the bottom. He wants to get to the bottom of the barrel. As far as this goes, his contact includes Bob Phillips, the guy who runs a store, and he has a lot of answers. But he also warns Sheriff Will not to go. He's coming up to 2 paths. One where he could just leave it alone and let it go, or 2, he could get into it and find out what's really going on. But he might not like it, and even worse, he might not come back. But Sheriff Will is a good guy, and he's his town. This is his town, and it doesn't look good when people are getting gutted. And so he starts investigating, and he finds out about the Jacob boys and their dad, and how they were supposedly lynched for a crime they didn't do, and they were murdered terribly, and it could be them coming back for revenge. But that would mean it would be a ghost, and in this day and age, who believes in ghosts? Well, somebody must have, because but I don't go into too much more detail, because I don't want to give it away. I will say this, though: if you've seen the original Fog, 1980, you'll understand the plot line. It's pretty much the same thing, which is good. If you haven't seen the Fog, well, go see it, because the Fog is a movie you need to see. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about River of Darkness and what I liked and what I didn't like about it. I'm actually going to go with what I didn't like about it first. Um, It was weirdly filmed. It seemed like a combination. It seemed like a combination of both shot on video and on tape. It looked half of it looked like it was on video, on, like I said, shot on video. Had the soap opera type of feel, like the live feel you see, and then at other times it looked like it was regularly filmed on with a camera, like a digital camera or whatnot. It was just really weird. It's a real weird contrast. Um, I didn't like some of the pacing wasn't that good, in the sense that they had kept on having Will bounce from town person to town person, asking questions and not really doing any investigating on his own. Um, he would go to Bob and says, "Well, where have you been?" Sheriff. And he says, "I've been to the library." Well, show us that. Show us the discovery. Show us what Will found. Because I hate to think that he's solving all his cases just strictly by going to town person and asking a question. There's really little or no investigation. Um, the second thing was the inclusion of a trio of paranormal investigators that came out of the blue. Out of the blue. No backstory at all. They were just there. The reason why they're there was like, wow, really? It just was too jarring. It didn't fit the narrative. And then all of a sudden, uh, um, and then some people were okay. So the ghosts have reasons to kill. They have reasons to kill, and they're only targeting those people. So it was a little bit jarring and took it off the narrative again by having them kill an innocent person. That was a little bit. It was like, wow, okay, so because I liked the story up to that point. There was a target. I mean, there was a reason for what they were doing, but it really just seemed like the only reason why these paranormal investigators were thrown in was just to create more of a body count. Uh, and that's a pretty weak. That's pretty weak to do that. Um, the acting. I gotta be honest with you, and I'm sure people are gonna like look at me weird, but man, I have to admit, Kurt Angle did a nice job. I'm going to go into some of the positives now in this movie. Kurt Angle did a really nice job as Will. It wasn't his fault that the script gave him what he gave him. What he had, he worked at what he worked with what he was given, what was written for him, and he did a really good job. I mean, he looked great in that as a sheriff. I mean, he looked like, damn, that's a sheriff. He looked the part. He acted the part. He carried the part. Um, I thought he was impressive. Tell you honest to heaven, I really did. And his voice, his speaking voice, it didn't like it wasn't doing the Kurt Angle thing, the whiny voice or whatnot. It was his regular speaking voice, and it comes across as someone who knows how to do his job. Again, the script makes him not appear that way. Um, and his Sheriff Will Logan had a lot of compassion. That's something that really stood out for me. He really wants to solve these murders. He doesn't know what's going on, but he's very sensitive to whenever he interacts with somebody. Even the townspeople even the guy who will beat for the sheriff's office. He gets a little frustrated with the guy, but he's not really slagging on him. He's like, hey, I got voted in. I'm sorry you lost, but I got a job to do. Let me do it. I can do this. Um, and of course, the other guy who is determined to repeat history, um, that's what they want to do. So they know that the secret is in the town. They know who was behind it, but what they don't know is how to solve it, how to resolve it. Uh, but Will is willing to go to the limit to to solve it, and he does a nice job. As far as like Sid and Kevin Nash, um, again they were fine in their roles, playing the Jacob brothers. Um, they looked effective. The makeup was pretty decent for it. I did like the makeup for it. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, all in all, it's not a great movie. I mean, it struggles to. It's okay. It's definitely okay. It's not a bad movie. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh my God, this movie sucks," because it didn't. Uh, there's just some technical issues, some filming issues, pacing issues, script issues, but it wasn't quite enough to derail the whole movie. I thought the acting sort of saved it a little bit. Great locations too. The locations were great, and the kills were inventive. The kills were inventive. They needed a little bit more special effects though. The blood is really not existent too much, and you'll see that on some of the kills. You go like, wow, that's for someone with five blades in him. He's not bleeding very much. Um, but overall, it was a decent movie, and I would I would recommend it for a watch. You could watch this on streaming services. I did. Um, and so, yeah, this is rated R for violence and language. And yeah, you can catch this on streaming services. So I think so far we are 1-1. That's pretty good because I thought we were only gonna go. I thought all five of these movies were just gonna blow chow, but he gave me a good one. All right, thank you, Eric. Yeah. So River of Darkness, we liked it. Go see it. All right, if you liked our review, come by and drop a comment, and come back next Wednesday for the next one. I'm not sure what it will be, but it will be something different. I promise. All right, that's it for us. Head on over to Hate Internet. It's Eric's channel as well to see the awesome movies that I gave him. At least I gave him awesome movies. But thank you for coming and checking out this entry in Sharks and Schlock. And take care and stay safe.